I've pulled as many hands as I could from my hand history where someone finished fourth. I just thought we could have a look at them, see if we get any trends, see if we can see any good plays, bad plays.
I'll tell you part of my criteria for who I feel, not who exactly, but who I feel should win this is the person who gives away the most chips in a decent position and then somehow finishes fourth.
Yes, and I think we'll see some examples of that.
I mean, we're about to look at this hand with Rouge here, and it's not got a huge amount of chips, and that's by no means a terrible move there to go all in with middle pair, bottom kicker. But it obviously didn't pay off. And
No.
I think that's a little bit, I'm going to say slightly unfortunate because his chip stack had dwindled.
So in this one we had Rouge with a big stack. Phil decides to make a stand on the King's 7 of hearts.
No one improves.
Never looks good when you run into Ace King.
No.
Yeah, another short stacked example there. Vic taking a stand on the short stack, which you have to do at some point.
You do, and that's not a bad hand to do it.
No,
I mean,
not at all.
Maybe she could have hung on a little bit longer, but I can't really complain too much. Now, this is a sort of hand that I'm interested in because even at this late stage, Rouge has got a decent stack.
Yeah, never folding top pair there.
No.
Rouge picked the wrong calling station to bluff against on that one.
He did. And I think that's a good shout for so far the biggest, well, the best fourth place loss.
Yeah.
This is another good one because both James APF and Beebster have got similar stacks at the start of the hand.
Yeah, bit unfortunate for Froggy to flop top pair and be outkicked.
That's the way it goes.
Those are the breaks.
Them's the breaks. And that's just a total cold deck there for poor Rouge.
Yeah, absolutely. Froggy sneaking at third on that one.
Spoonsy versus Deed Planet.
You can imagine where this one goes.
Yep. Crikey.
10,000 chips. Would have been good for second.
Yep, that hand sort of played itself on the flop.
Shoved for 10 big blinds there with Ace King. Wasn't
and
even
the news isn't good.
Not even hope.
Not even hope. Hope is a killer. Probably. Classic perks.
Classic perks. The king on the flop is classic perks, I think.
Yeah. And then the second pair on the turn. Wonder what Rouge had there. Ace Queen?
Maybe. Pocket tens, probably, because there was no 10 coming on that river.
Yeah. Captain Blade. Let's have a look at Captain Blade.
Sneaky limp in from the small blind there for Kings.
Yeah, and that's an unfortunate flop for him.
Yeah. I just didn't believe that meant the ace.
I think unfortunately with the chip stacks, Captain Blade met his ultimate destination.
Another classic 50-50.
These nines are getting a lot of sets, aren't they?
Yeah.
Queen's
a good hand to make a stand on it. 11 big blinds.
Good old Perks. So many outs.
I'm surprised that one didn't make the luckiest player montage, actually.
Yeah, I mean, have we got time to edit it? No, it's gone out, hasn't it? There it is.
Yep. Moomin Killer in merciless move with a big stack there.
Yep. And for once, Perks doesn't like it up him.
I'll have to edit that out.
That's a flop.
I like the way Din makes you roll the chips go in here by dividing them evenly between the 3 betting rounds. And leaving Perk 79 chips back on the river.
Oh, that's classic Din. Bless him. Oh, now this is the sort of hand that I've been waiting with bated breath for. 3 big stacks going up against each other.
Curly Joe did just shove for 10 times the size of the pot there.
Yeah, and Captain Blade has snuck into 3rd place. Although it wasn't really a sneak, given that everyone on the board had a decent stack, but he found his way in to 3rd place there with minimal effort.
Didn't have to work for it, did he?
No. That's my favourite hand of all the ones that I've seen.
There we are. So this is the proportion of time that people finish 4th in the history of our home game.
You know what? Given that this is the Colin Cox Award, I think that sort of speaks quite a lot.
Yeah,
I am quite likely to finish 4th. And seeing as I've not played for 6 months.
Yeah, but it might have to be called the Curly Jolie Award on this basis.
So, what about the people? Have the people spoken?
The people have spoken.
Who have they chosen?
Shall we find out?
Most likely to bubble. Winner of the Colin Cox Award is Captain Blade.
Captain Blade.
Congratulations, Dinesh.
Indeed.
Not statistically, but I think a worthy winner.
I think it's quite interesting how people's perceptions and the actual stats differ quite widely. I think maybe getting a few memorable 4ths is enough to cement it in the mind that you come 4th a lot.
Indeed. I mean, I was quite surprised to see Moomin in that so high up in that position. But then again, she does play with Perks a lot. Who often takes her chips.
Yeah.
So has Captain Blade sent us a few words?
Well, he has promised me a few words, so let's either go over to Captain Blade now, or if I don't receive it by the time I come to publish this, go over to some random clip that I find.
Yeah.
I've got a lot to get through. I wanna thank loads of people, but I just keep thinking it's all down to me and hard work. I don't know. I'd like to thank, I know it's dead corny, but my mum and dad who can't be watching tonight because they're at bingo.
Runner-up, Froggy.
Okay.
Again, I don't think he was amongst the players that most commonly finished in 4th.
No, I think you're right. A couple of memorable ones. So let's have one more look at that chart again and see how these two stack up against it.
There we are.
So quite low, actually.
Yeah. In fact, between our winner and runner-up, they didn't finish 4th as often as Curly Jolie.
No.
That's absolute statistical nonsense. I just came out with that, but we'll go with it. So, moving on to the Bonnie Tyler Award for Best Hero Call.
Right. Onwards. Nominees.
Beebster, Captain Blade, me, Froggy, Perks, Moomin, and Phil. All players who don't press the call button from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dr. Spoonley has pressed that call button a few times too many in the past. But
Never
can say
true
that about
words.
several players. Shall we go to the montage and see who might deserve this award?
Okay. First up,
Okay.
me and Perks having a little battle.
As you often do.
Decide to raise it up out of the big blind. Get called. See what I think is quite a decent flop. Just one over card. Definitely worth a bet.
Yeah.
And I decide here that I'm going to try and push Perks off his hand, for better or worse.
What you put him on at this point?
Oh, any pair, any ace, flush draw, quite a wide range. Most of it behind what I've got, but some of it ahead. My
I'm
opponent
guessing
had a
this is
flush draw.
quite early on in the tournament, given the chip stats.
Can we see the time? This is 9:16, just before the end of rebuys. So that might factor into some of the play here.
And we're in the two table setup as well.
But Perks with a great call, takes down a huge pot.
It was. I mean, I think it's pretty bold and everything, but it's not the boldest of calls I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, moving on to hand two.
It would have been interesting if that last card that came out, or if the Turn and River produced an overcard.
Yeah, it would have added to my credibility a little bit. But on this hand, I pick up the flush on the turn, check it behind.
Not just a flush, but the nut worst flush.
The nut worst flush. It goes for a half pot bluff, I'm going to call it. And I picked it off. The four of clubs.
What if she'd overbet there? What would you have done?
She would have had to bet quite large to make me fold.
So let's say she bet 8k into a 3k pot.
I would fold. But I would probably call like 3k or 4k or something. Yeah. But I'm not sure. It would make an interesting bit of analysis. I do think you probably can't just fold flushes on the river there, even the nut worst flush. Otherwise, well, if I know you're going to fold flushes on the river there, I'll just bet every single time. It'd be profitable. So
what's the time on this one? 8:25.
So yeah, early in the tournament, Froggy and Phil going to war.
I see the Collins sitting there as well.
Oh yes,
this is quite an old game.
Absolutely epic draw for Phil there. Gives him 91% equity.
Mm-hmm.
And Froggy bets 3/4 of the pot. Phil.
That's a nice call from Phil there, because aside from the 9, any part of that flop was beating him, and even his 10 might have been rubbish as well. So that was nice from Phil.
Yeah, agreed. Phil loses to basically anything apart from a bluff.
Yeah.
There. So I think perfect definition of a hero call.
Yep. So far, that's the objective winner for me.
Oh, this was a good one. This was between BB and a guy called Johnny, who played in one game with us. Dropped down to less than one ante and fought back. Went on to finish 4th, ironically.
Nice.
BB bets his top pair. Johnny calls with a nut flush draw. Everyone else gets out of the way. No help on the turn. BB checks it behind. River is a king. And Johnny bets, what's that? 3/4 of the pot. ish.
Yeah.
I mean, would you mind speculating if you were in Bieber's shoes and you're facing a guy that no one at the table's played with before?
I can't. It's difficult. I mean, I might be thinking that is sitting there with ace king, king jack, king 10. I don't think he's got a flush. But and I'm obviously guessing that Bieber's about to make this call with his queen 2, and so far this is my winner for best hero call. This is excellent, but I just can't put Johnny on anything right now. I mean, I don't think I'd be calling with my queen 2 for such a sizable bet, given how many chips I'm holding and how late in the tournament it is as well.
No, I agree. One thing that goes in favour of the call is that BB doesn't have a heart, and not having a heart makes it more likely that Johnny is in there with a busted flush draw.
That's true.
So I think that is in his favour. Also, he needs to win 29.6% of the time to break even. So he doesn't need to win all that often. Having said that, I am with you, Colin. I think I would still fold, which makes this an absolutely fantastic call.
Yeah. So far, that's my winger. Let's see if it can be bettered.
Limp on the button. Min
Like
raise at the small blind. And 3-way to a flop. And it's a good one.
For everyone.
Half pot from Joe. Moving calls.
Good.
No
like
help
both
on
of
the
those.
turn. Half pot again. These bets are getting quite serious.
Yeah. Is there an argument for checking there if you're Joe?
Well, I don't know what the right thing to do is, but yes, I would check at least some of the time. And if I did bet the turn and get called, I would definitely check the river, unless it was a king or a 10.
Yeah.
Viewing calls.
Fine call.
River is the 8 of hearts, putting one gap to a straight on board.
I mean, at this point, I don't think I would factor in the straight. What would be a straight in that besides king 7?
Yeah,
so
it's
unlikely. I think I'd get rid of the straight from my equation unless he's sitting there with pocket 7s, but I don't think that level of aggression would, on the flop and the turn, would be pocket 7s.
No.
So I think I would get rid of the straight out of the repertoire straight away. That said, this is for fixed tournament here. It's a tough call. It's a tough call. So, according to the magic number there, she needs to be right 26% of the times to show a profit.
Yeah.
27%. But yeah, it is still a tough call.
That's it. You really don't beat a lot, do you? Like, what value hands do you beat?
No, you beat
10.
King 10. You beat King 10, you beat Queen, Jack.
Yeah, and the bluffs.
And bluffs. Yeah, you beat any pair better than a 9, worse than a 10. Better than a 9, worse than a king. But I think to reason that out and to put yourself ahead, Vic did very well there. So this looks interesting.
Three big blinds from Perks.
Dr. Spoonsy doing with the 10-3? Is he doing anything, or is he folding?
The pot odds are fantastic. So, middling cards. no health rider player. Perks
No,
bets.
it's a horrible flop for the fives, but it keeps you interested. But then again, even if the straight hits, if a six comes up or a five comes up, what do you do?
Yeah, drawing at the bottom end of a gut shot is dicey business.
Yeah, and then hitting that set isn't great. I mean, again, you would have to factor in has that made a difference? But then if a six comes in, somebody could be sitting there with pocket tens with 10 jack. And given the way the betting has gone in this hand, either of those are a possibility.
Absolutely.
Let's spin it on.
Heads up to the turn. Froggy hits his straight. Calls off for 3,000. River's an ace, and Perks sets him all in.
Yeah. I think at this point, given that you called on the flop, it's an insta call on the river.
Yeah, I think it's a call as well. It's worth noting, though, again, Froggy doesn't beat any legitimate value hands.
No.
Really, here, does he? I mean, if Perks had pocket aces or pocket nines, I don't think he's going to feel great about betting that river.
No. Well, I don't know. I mean, this is Perks. He feels great about any bet he makes.
But Froggy makes the call, snaps it off.
As I say, once you've made that commitment on the turn, I think the river becomes sort of plays itself. But it was brave from Froggy, because that was it's a difficult situation having the crap end of the straight.
Absolutely. Button and big blind battle between BB and Froggy. BB limps in, naturally.
Like he does.
Froggy checks.
Like he does.
And we get this flop. Bottom pair for Froggy, nothing for BB. Froggy picks up a weak flush draw. BB hits top pair.
Yep.
Checks. BB checks it behind.
Oof. And the shit flush draw hits.
As does two pair for BB.
As does a brace of pairs for BB.
Froggy leads. Well, he bets.
Yeah.
A bit less than the size of the pot.
So it's still a pretty hefty bet.
Yep. But BB is in no mood to take prisoners. And he raises. Any thoughts on what you would do here?
I would flat call and hate it.
Yeah. Do you expect to be good very often? I mean, we're supposed to be good 19% of the time to call here.
I'd expect to be good reasonably often, yeah. Probably more than 19% of the time. Maybe 1 out of 3 times. I think, there's... So BB's obviously not sitting there with the ace-high flush draw. It could have another diamond.
Yeah.
But I think, given the way the hand has gone, it's just not that likely that he's got diamond. I think, given the amount of chips in there, I think Froggy is pretty much committed to calling here.
Yeah. I think similar to what we were saying before, I think you have to call here when you've got a flush a good amount of the time. Otherwise, the other person can just raise you.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, though, is do we think that BB is bluffing very often here?
One question. I'll answer that question with a question.
Best way.
Is BB bluffing here?
I don't think he is.
I don't think Bieber's bluffing, but that still doesn't mean that he's got the diamond. He could be sitting there with Ace Jack. He could be sitting there, if you can reason him on Ace Jack, that again puts the flush straight out the window. Or he could be sitting there with any two pairs. If you're putting him on two pairs, again, that's the flush gone right there.
Yes.
So I think with that in mind, it's a really good call from Froggy incoming here, but I think I think it's also quite a logical call at the end of the day as well.
Agreed. I think I remember this hand, and Froggy sat there for a little while, used up at least half of his time bank, and agonised his way to a call, and was duly rewarded.
Yeah, it's not an easy call. It's a very good call, but at the same time, I think once if you put the chips in and you get raised, and you put in Froggy on anything other than putting BB on anything other than a flush, then the solution presents itself, which is flat call.
Drum roll, please.
Froggy. Oh no! Oh, it's a tie.
It's a tie.
It's a tie.
Two winners.
Excellent.
Phil Power Taylor.
Everyone's a winner.
CPF. Yes.
So, have we got any words from anyone?
Well, since Froggy had already had a winner's speech, I invited Phil to accept this award.
Excellent.
Hi all. I'd like to thank you all for this award, making the best hero calls. You can maybe make some effort on the awards next time, James. But in all seriousness, best at making the hero calls. Made a lot of zero calls, lost a lot of river rats. Mark, but thanks anyway.
Well, there we are.
Yeah, congratulations to Phil. I think looking at some of that, he deserved an award.
I've got this hand.
Ding! Exclamation.
So we were talking about players finishing fourth earlier, the Colin Cox Award, and this one very much stuck in my memory. I won't spoil too much. If you've not seen it, I'll just play it out. So Din min raises from the button to ace 2. It's a good play. Gets called by Beebster in the big blind. They both flop trips. And they both slow play. Full house for BB on the turn, and he bets one big blind.
Because it's BB.
Because it's BB. And Din min raises.
Because it's Din.
Any thoughts? BB's definitely slow playing this again, right?
Yeah, I think he's got a flat call now.
Flat calls. River is innocuous. Now, what I want you to do is just take a moment, take a deep breath, and imagine how you think this river's going to go down.
Okay, so I think what's going to happen is... Oh no, I think I've reasoned it out. It's going to go raise, 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 all the way till all in. No. Yes. Oh God. This is what I call foreplay.
I must say, Colin, your read of the tournament was impeccable. 37,000 chips, and I think we're going to have a replay on that one. Was it a 5-bet all in? 6-bet?
No. Let's have a look.
This didn't put Din out, but it did knock him from a strong position. So at the start of the hand, if we just go back to the... this will let me just go back to the start of the hand.
It's a massive cold deck for Din, but the way they both play it just makes me want to throw my laptop out the window looking at it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Din, but he could have lost a lot less, especially against Alan, who was slow playing. You know, if Alan had bet and raised the flop and the turn and didn't lost all his chips, I could understand it. But because they were both trapping, I think Din could have definitely saved some chips here.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that, I mean, BB could have had a different full house. He could have had pocket tens, he could have had pocket eights, pocket fives. But Ding he's got trips and no kicker.
Yeah.
BB has got a full house. And even all right, he needs a full house, otherwise it's probably a split pot. In fact, yeah, it would be a split pot, but at the same time, BB has got that strong hand, whereas Din's hand, I would be on this river, I wouldn't be doing anything other than flat calling.
Yes, I 100% agree. I think it's even. It's a bit of a hero call, even call. I mean,
yeah,
I definitely would call because you only need to win 20% of the time. But I think realistically, best case scenario is going to be a split against ace-7, ace-6, ace-4, or ace-3. So I certainly wouldn't raise. But it's much more entertaining this way.
Yeah.
Let's see how many bets it went. So 1 from BB, 2, 3 bet, 4 bet, 5 bet, 6 bet, 7 bet all in.
It was only 7 because he ran out of chips.
Well, have you ever seen a pot where someone's 7 bet all in on the river before tonight?
I might have seen one on Tinterweb somewhere, but not in this game. That was agonizing to watch.